Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Crypto. My name's Don. As ever, I'll be taking you through today's crypto news and giving you some updates on what is going on in crypto. But for now, let's dive into the prices, shall we, and see exactly how the market is looking at the moment based on the top 10 cryptocurrency coins. So, first things first, Bitcoin then, as we always start. Currently sitting at 27,400, just up 2% on the day, which is a nice start to the week. We've then got Ethereum sitting at 1,828, up just over 1% on the day. BNB at 315, and this is dollars, of course. XRP at 42 cents. Cardano, 37 cents. Dogecoin at 0.07 cents. And then Solana, $21. And finally, Polygon at 87 cents. Now, not massive changes, but we are starting off the week. Today is Monday, of course, with about a 1 or 2% increase across the board, which, look, we'll take it. It's positive. It's not red, which is the main thing. It's a positive start to this week. And a nice weekly close last night as well. So yeah, all in all, looking good and positive to see on a Monday morning. So I'm also noticing this here, the trending part here, the top 3 trending are literally just meme coins. Pepe's down 10%. Doge CEO, which I'm assuming is a new meme coin, perhaps, up 48%, and then Homer Simpson is down 41%. So yeah, like we've been saying the past few weeks, you're seeing meme coin mania at the moment, and it's continuing by the looks of it, which is, I guess it will have its time. It will run for a few more weeks, I'd imagine, and then it might start to calm down. But hey ho, we'll see. We'll move on. It's fun to see meme coins still getting some attraction, I guess. Okay, so moving into some of the first parts of today's news then. Now, you may remember this company, Library, which was, I can't remember exactly when this was, but it was a few months ago anyway, where the SEC essentially had fined them because they were a security. Well, there's a new article out today, earlier today, that the SEC revises its $22 million punishment against Library and seeks $111,000 instead. I don't know how you go from 22 million to 111,000. But yeah, let's crack on with this news article because it is quite interesting. The reason it's so interesting is because obviously XRP, or Ripple, should I say, is in a battle or a legal case with the SEC, much like Library were with the whole security or not security. And it's just interesting to see how this is kind of panned out a little bit. So just to kind of read through this to catch up anyone that hasn't been following it or isn't sure what this was. So the US securities regulator is seeking to revise its $22 million punishment against decentralized content platform Library, or LBRY, acknowledging that it's unlikely to be able to cough up the funds to be able to pay it. In a May 12 filing, the New Hampshire District Court, the SEC sought an amendment to its request for remedies in its successful case against Library. Instead of seeking the original $22 million, the amount it claims Library gained from its sale of the token, Library Credits, LBC, the SEC has asked the court to impose a fine of $111,000, citing that Library's lack of funds and near-defunct status. So the request also asks to stop Library from conducting future unregistered offerings of crypto asset securities, and the Commission acknowledges Library representations that it is defunct, ceasing operations and without the funds to pay a larger fine, and recognises that a defendant's ability to pay is a factor when imposing a civil penalty. So, Bill Morgan here on Twitter has tweeted, so James Filan is the original tweet, which you may remember or may recognise that name. He's played a big part with the XRP stuff, or the Ripple XRP stuff, and he's been tweeting a lot around the Library stuff as well. So he's a big name on Twitter, so you may recognise his name. But Bill Morgan's kind of quote tweeted him here saying, millions of dollars spent for a fine of $111,000 and a company financially ruined. That helps the world. And he's just quoting the original tweet, which is basically what I've just covered. But essentially what Bill Morgan's trying to make a point here is the SEC have spent millions of dollars investigating this company to prove or to confirm that it was a security and it shouldn't have been selling its assets. Caused the company to shut down, financially ruined the company. They don't have enough money to pay the fine, and they've had to essentially give all the money back to its users and stuff. So the SEC believe that what they're doing is helping the greater good and helping these companies flourish, but quite clearly they've not helped. They've shut a company down and financially ruined them. They've hit them with a $22 million fine, which they then couldn't pay. So the SEC have had to kind of retract that and go back with another. I mean, $111,000 is still a huge amount of money, and the company obviously still probably can't afford that because the SEC have ruined them. But yeah, another point proving that the SEC is not here to help you as an investor or the American people as investors. They're here to just ruin people and not let crypto kind of flourish. And yeah, try and make money from these companies just by saying that they're securities and stuff. So yeah, let's hope it doesn't happen with Ripple. Obviously, Ripple and the SEC's case is a bit different to the library case. Similar in ways, but a bit different. And plus, Ripple have been doing slightly better in terms of fighting it and stuff. I do have something I'm going to cover just next article on the Ripple kind of stuff as well. But yeah, I don't believe this sort of thing will happen and it won't financially ruin Ripple, because Ripple is a multi-billion-dollar company. It's a much larger company than this library was. But like I said, it's very similar because the SEC are trying to protect investors, but in fact they're ruining companies and ruining the chances for investors. So yeah, not great, but mental to see that they've decided to change from $22 million to $111,000 just because the company couldn't afford it. So yeah, interesting. So as I mentioned then, some Ripple XRP SEC news updates then. So John Deaton, so again, another name you'll be familiar with. He is the founder of Crypto Law, which is it's a law firm that deals specifically in crypto, but he is a lawyer. He's been a lawyer for a long, long time. We actually seen him and met him at the XRP event in Las Vegas. And yeah, he's been big for the community and he's helped out massively when it comes to the lawsuit. But yeah, the update here then is from this guy, Stuart. So I kind of quote tweet here from Stuart, who is the chief legal officer at Ripple. And he says he's got over 35 years legal experience as well. So he knows what he's talking about. He knows his way around the legality side of things. But John here has tweeted, the SEC is so arrogant, it ignores the law and brags about it. So to quote what the SEC have said, the Commission, on the other hand, does not require vertical or horizontal commonality per se, nor does it view a common enterprise as a distinct element of the term investment contract. Now, this is all to do with the Howey test. Again, if you've been following this case for the past 2.5 years that it's been running, you'll know there's been a lot of things getting thrown about called the Howey test, which is essentially a really, 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 really old way of testing assets. I believe it actually says here in 1946, as Stuart has quoted, it was to do with the Howey test. Again, it was nothing brought in for crypto. This was done for assets back in the 40s, 50s, 60s and so on. They've never changed it or updated it, and they've tried to use the same rules or the same rule book against digital assets in the modern world that are 10 plus years old, if that. And obviously it doesn't make any sense because it's completely different. I mean, the world in the 1940s compared to the world in the 2010s, 2020s is completely different. The world the past 20 years is completely different. It's dramatically different, but they're still trying to use this Howey test to prove that assets are securities and stuff, which is kind of part of the fight with cryptocurrency and Ripple and the SEC and stuff. Is like, why don't you update the rules to kind of match the updated assets? Anyway, basically what this is trying to say, or what the guys are trying to say here, is the SEC are kind of contradicting themselves and what they've already written back in the 40s and what they're supposedly sticking to, and what they're trying to say is right, or what Ripple's doing in the lawsuit. So it's, again, more just mess from the SEC. It's nothing new. They seem to be tripping themselves up, but because they're a government kind of company or a governing body, whichever way you want to word it, they seem to be able to just make up and create new rules, or kind of get away or get round, or just essentially just ignore what they've said and just come out with all these new rules. And it's hard to go against a governing body because, well, they're the government. We all know it's hard to go against the government because they can kind of do what they want. They are the government. As much as we don't agree with that, we can't really do much with it. So, yeah, anyway, and again, a more stronger case to prove that XRP is not a security, and the SEC have even said this in part of their article. In fact, let me just see if I can make this larger, and I can try to read this little part here that you circled. So, it says here, while some of the cases do stress elements in the particular situations, making the enterprise a common one, there is no suggestion in a statutory language that an investment contract is limited to an investment in a single enterprise. The requirement of a public offering does, of course, necessitate sufficient community of interest to make the individual units offered substantially similar investments. Essentially, there we go, didn't mean to close that, but essentially what Stuart again here is saying, the chief legal officer, is in 1946, in its sub-county Howie brief, the SEC unsuccessfully argued that an investment in a common enterprise was unnecessarily provided there was a community of interest. The SEC was wrong then, and it is still wrong now. Common interest equals common enterprise. So, again, it's so frustrating because we know that the SEC are wrong. We know that Ripple should win this. But it's still ongoing. It's still just a slow uphill battle. But yeah, look, apparently in quarter three, which we're very close to now, we're only a couple of months away from quarter three, we should be seeing some sort of finalisation of the Ripple case. Fingers crossed. It would be nice, but I know that Brad Garlinghouse was at the XRP event in Vegas, and he mentioned that as well, and he's been saying that publicly the past few weeks, that quarter three, he believes, will be the month or the quarter that we hear some updates. So looking forward to it. It should be interesting. Okay, next in news then, you may have seen this over the past few days. For anyone watching this from Canada, you'll be more than aware that Binance calls it quits in Canada, and it blames the new rules. So again, not anything new. We are seeing a lot of regulation news coming out from the US and from Canada. So Binance will withdraw the Canadian market. The cryptocurrency exchange announced on Twitter it's called its withdrawal proactive, as new guidance issued by the Canadian regulators continues to take a toll on the country's crypto industry. C19, and with, well, not even just that, there's been so many things happening in Canada that just, it's not looking all that good. But here's another mess up, or another kind of mistake that I would say Canada have come away with. But Binance is joining some of its smaller competitors in its Canadian exodus, brought on by the introduction of rules by the Canadian Securities Administration, which is the CSA. Again, same as the SEC, same as the FCA. And that was back in February. That required them to file new pre-registration undertakings and adhere to added restrictions. Although Binance had reportedly filed a new pre-registration undertaking, it explained in a tweet that, in fact, I'll just show you the tweet here. Unfortunately, today we are announcing that Binance will be joining other prominent crypto businesses in proactively withdrawing from the Canadian marketplace. We would like to thank those regulators who worked with with us collaboratively and to address the needs of Canadian users. So, yeah, the part here it says the CSA rules prohibit firms from permitting Canadian clients to enter into crypto contracts to buy and sell any crypto assets that it itself as a security or a derivatives, and they define stablecoins as a security. So again, it's not looking good, bruv, as I like to say, for Canadians and crypto. Don't get me wrong, there's always other exchanges, there's always VPNs, there's always ways around this. But the big news is that Binance has left the Canadian market, as well as quite another number of crypto exchanges. So yeah, not good. But again, this is just what we're going to see until we get some regulation. This does not mean that they are out forever. It just seems to be the past kind of 12 months has shown that because regulation is a bit up in the air at the moment. I covered this again in a few Coffee and Cryptos. Because regulation is up in the air, it's not a yes or a no in some of these instances. Most companies will jump ship just to kind of save money until there is regulation. And when there is regulation, whether it's yes or no, they'll be able to act and throw money at that if need be, and potentially bring back their exchanges to Canada, the US, wherever it may be. Now, surprise, surprise, the UK, again, I'm proud to say this, but the UK have actually been quite proactive and quite pro-crypto, which is good. Don't get me wrong, some exchanges like BYBIT and stuff for derivatives are banned. You can still technically use them. This is what I mean, there's always ways around it somehow, but they are technically banned in the UK. But other than that, most of them still are able to be used, like Binance, for example, and SwissBorg, of course, are still able to be used in the UK. But yeah, there we go. That's the news for Canada and Binance. Some other news from across the pond, this time from Florida, which is actually a pro-crypto state. I quite like the governor. Is it Ron DeSantis? He recently, I think it was this week or a few days ago, the Florida governor signs CBDC bill into law, restricting some uses of the US and foreign CBDCs. Now, let me just scroll down. So Ron DeSantis then signed a bill restricting the use of central bank digital currencies in the state, according to new local news sources. The government urged state lawmakers in March to draft the bill. So CBDCs, like I said before, they're not bad, they're not great. They are, I guess, just the future of digital currencies. But I've had this kind of conversation with a lot of people in the past who are on both sides. They don't really like CBDCs. They're like, oh no, I don't want a digital currency. Like, I don't want everything to be digital. I like having money in the bank, and I don't want things to be controlled and blah blah blah. But the way I kind of flip that and maybe question that is, how many of you use digital banking? How many of you probably don't use cash all that often? How many of you use Apple Pay every day, or for every payment it's just double click on your phone and pay with Apple Pay? Everything is digital already to an extent. And the other thing as well is the banks, whether it's RBS, HSBC, Santander, Monzo, Starling, whoever it may be that you bank with, trust me, they can shut your account down if they want. They can hold your funds if they want. It's happening already. It's not anything new. The banks have mass control of your funds, whether you believe that or not. Most of you, or maybe some of you that invest in crypto, may have already found that out the hard way. I know Deck has had a few bank accounts or had issues with bank accounts, and one even closed down. And they don't directly say it's because of crypto, but when you're sending crypto in and out of an account and that's the only thing you've been doing, then they decide to close it down or they freeze your account for investigation. There's kind of proof in the pudding that they still have mass control of your money. Yes, the money in your bank is your money. It's still digital. You don't actually see it. It's numbers on a screen. So yeah, that's why I'm not particularly scared of CBDCs and then don't particularly love them or hate them, because we already are kind of under control by the banks. And who owns the banks, or no, not so much who owns the banks, but who essentially runs the banks, governments, because the banks need to bow down to the FCA. The FCA is a governing body. You see it kind of downstreams from the government once again. But yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about CBDCs. Again, it's like anything new, you have to panic. But your money is already digital for a start. Many of you won't use cash unless you're paid in cash, or you just really, really, really like taking cash out the bank. You're still getting paid digitally to your bank from your employer. Therefore, it's just numbers on a screen. Therefore, it's a bank account with a UK bank normally, and that can be frozen if they suspect suspicious activity, or if you've been on a spending spree. Sometimes the banks even freeze your account, even though it's your money, it's you that's going on that spending spree. If it's not a normal spend, then the banks will freeze your funds until you speak to the kind of the fraud team, do some KYC and confirm the payments and whatnot. So yeah, I'm sure most of you have had that. I'm guessing everyone's had it at some point in their life where their bank account has been frozen, or maybe you've had a bank account shut down or something like that. CBDCs are not going to be all that different. Obviously, there's a bigger picture here that comes in, and they will be like issuing money, and they'll control how much you can spend and whatnot. So obviously, there's a bigger picture here at the end of it, but I'm just trying to break it down and explain a little bit of the conversations that I've had with a lot of people when they come to... It's mostly comes from the crypto conversation, like, oh no, I'm not about digital, I'm cash is king. And look, I do agree, like cash is king. I love having cash as well. I hate spending cash. I think it's great just having a wad of cash. I don't know what it is. It just gives you, so it gives me joy. I don't know if it brings you joy. It brings me joy having, like, I say a wad of cash, a couple £100 in cash, just feels great. But at the same time, the world has been pushed towards a digital kind of currency, and it's not anything new because we've been paying with Apple Pay for like 5 years now. We've all been doing contactless for like 5 years now, and it's a way for us to spend money a lot easier. So retailers love it, or big companies love it, and yeah, it's not anything new. So yeah, don't be too scared if you see stuff about CBDCs. But anyway, back to this news article. Again, I've pretty much covered most of it in my little rant there, but I guess a positive thing that DeSantis has signed a bill that he doesn't want kind of... in fact, I'll just read the actual article here. So DeSantis said he was spurred into action by the US President Joe Biden's administration studies of the new financial technology. The United States does not have a CBDC, and there is no current plans to introduce one. They will. Everyone else will, so they will. I don't think they would have done that if they don't intend on implementing this. He said where a US CBDC is to be issued, it would be a massive transfer of power from consumers to central authority. Again, it's already kind of happening. I think they would want to crowd out and eliminate other types of digital assets like cryptocurrency because they can't control that, so they don't like that. So yeah, that's the other side of it. People think that if the CBDCs exist, the banks can control it, therefore there's no need for cryptocurrencies, because the banks will essentially just say, no, we can't accept them, you must use the CBDC. So look, CBDCs is another like topic in itself, another video in itself, but that's my opinion on them. They are relatively still new. They will come in the next kind of 2 to probably even 5+ years. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I do believe that in the future, that's kind of just how it will start to unfold, shall we say. Okay, so moving on, just a couple of tweets before I finish up then. So the first one being is, do you remember on Friday's video, I mentioned about BRC20 tokens, and I mentioned about the BITGET stuff as well. So hopefully some of you managed to get on that. But CoinGecko, which is quite a popular kind of portfolio tracker and market tracker, has got a new category called BRC20. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate how I believe how important it is to follow these new trends. And, well, CoinGecko must feel the same. So yeah, if you use CoinGecko and you're interested in BRC20, then go check them out. If you don't know what BRC20 tokens are, watch Friday's video. For the first kind of 5-10 minutes, I cover what BRC20 tokens are. Next is just a kind of, it's nothing to do with crypto really, but I just love these types of memes. That's probably quite blurry because it's quite blurry on my screen, but it's one of these things, you see them all the time, these funny, like, are they even called memes? I don't know if they are, but these images where people kind of give up trying after years and years of trying. If they just tried a little bit harder, they would have reached the diamonds, or they would have reached the kind of positive outlook, or whatever it may be. And I feel like this is a good representation of a few things, especially in crypto. Our big kind of motto is patience pays. This is kind of a good representation to say that patience pays, and the diamonds are representing the bull market. For example, here's the bear market. So I feel like we've dug and we've dug and we've dug. We've been in this bear market for a year and a half now, almost 2 years. We're probably about 65%, 70% of the way there towards getting the start of the bull market, or the real start of the bull market. Or you can even look to this to say this is the Bitcoin halving. These gems are the Bitcoin halving, and we're here. We're just about to crack it. We're just about to make it. We're just about to see the massive price increases that we're used to and what we've seen back in 2020 and 2021. But this man here, he's gave up. He's decided, it's been a year and a half. I've just been mining for a year and a half, and I'm over it, man. Like, I'm done with crypto. I'm going to just go in and I'm going to invest in property. I'm going to go and spend money and try and learn about property for the next 2 years and make £500 a month from my property investments, or whatever it. I don't know I'm just trying to think of stuff that's relative right now, because that seems to be what everyone's jumping on. For some reason, they think that property is going to be the quick win to get them there. Property is a long game as well. If you think crypto takes forever or takes years to make you money, go invest in property. Again, that's no shade at property. It's a massive wealth game, but I'm talking about the time it would take to generate the mass amounts of cash flow and money and wealth and whatever it may be that you can see in crypto. You can literally, based on evidence and based on facts, you can invest for 2 or 3 years and make a hell of a lot of money in crypto if you just keep going and just keep doing not doing what this man does, but do what this man didn't do, and just keep mining until you get to the diamonds. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Quite a kind of cheesy analogy or whatever, but I think it's quite important. That's why I'm still here. I still show up every single day, every hour, every minute of every day. I'm thinking about crypto. I'm doing something that's related to crypto. I'm speaking to the members in Discord. I'm doing these videos every single morning. And if I'm not, I'm in the office doing something else, trying to push forward. We've got a massive mentoring program coming. We've got plans to do crypto events after the summer. There's literally so much still happening in today's world, because we know what's happening. We've been this guy where we've almost gave up, but we've just pushed on and pushed on and pushed on, and we've been massively thankful for ourselves, but obviously massively financially rewarded for just sticking to it. And I guess, do you know what? This analogy could also mean as well that we are going to bring another 100x altcoin gem at some point very, very soon. We're just trying to pick the correct time. I mentioned it on Instagram stories last night, but this is also, I guess, an analogy we could use for that, and maybe I will use this again, but it's like we're working towards it. Just keep in there. Members, just keep in there. We're bringing the diamonds, we're bringing the gems very, very soon. But yeah, anyway, that's what I wanted to show you and kind of explain a little bit about this image that I'd seen. And then lastly, a little bit about one of our favourite meme coins on the channel that we've been chatting about the past few weeks, GENSLR. I seen someone tweeted this and I didn't actually realise how big it actually was. So you've got Beeple, who is one of the largest, if not the most successful and largest NFT artists that came out in 2021. You've then got BitBoy Everyone knows BitBoy again. He's one of the largest influencers. Thinking Crypto, quite a big influencer. He's got over 100k on Instagram and over 100k on YouTube, I believe. And then the Define, I don't actually know who that is, but the fact that they've been mentioned here, they must be pretty big. And then shown here that they've got 4,700 holders, a $3 million market cap, millions of impressions, trending on Twitter, and central exchange listings. So yeah, again, I'm still holding my small investment in GENSLR, which at one point was up like nearly 600%, which again is just nuts. Meme coins are nuts. They're absolutely crazy. Be careful if you get involved. But yeah, GENSLR's still hopefully going to do 100x. And I just wanted to show you that these are some of the names that are still involved. So if you are going to invest in it, it's on Uniswap. Obviously do your own research. Never take any advice, or nothing that I give as advice anyway. There's no financial advice ever given on this channel. But do your own research, get involved if you want to. It's on Uniswap. It's fun. It's about Gary Gensler, so who knows what can happen. But yeah, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Coffee and Crypto. Again, this coffee is probably cold. Typical, I never actually drink my coffee on live stream, but hopefully you have. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow morning for more of the same. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. We do this every single morning, Monday to Friday we do this every single morning. And if you want more from us, please subscribe to the channel, join our Discord community, which is linked in the channel description or this video description. Everything you need from us is linked in today's description. Again, my name's Don. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow morning for another episode of Coffee and Crypto. Hope you have a great Monday. Take care.